Hey guys, my name is Alex and welcome to my channel. Now today I was planning to make a completely different video, but I have this inspiration. I'm in this mood, so let's just do it. Guys, I masturbate. It can be quite an interesting way of starting the video, but let me just back off and explain a bit. As a child, I was feeling anxious while masturbating. I don't know why, I don't know exactly what that was, but I felt depressed. First couple of years everything was fine and I was feeling perfectly normal, but from the age of 13, so pretty much when I became a teenager, I started noticing this depression. And although there were many reasons why I was depressed as a teen, I've noticed that I felt absolutely terribly bad after masturbating. Now, my parents are not religious. In fact, they're all doctors. My dad is a neurologist and my mom is GP. And they never really talked to me about masturbation. I was never biased or prejudiced to think that this is something bad and you shouldn't be really doing it. You know, like with most kids, it flows sort of naturally and that's just the way it is. Now, after started noticing that a major reason for my depression was masturbation, I tried to quit it. And what's very interesting is that I couldn't. I've been trying for 1.5 years doing this NoFap challenge, which is something that you might have heard about. Basically, this is a challenge where you don't masturbate or watch porn for some time or as long as you can, or you just get rid of it just like that, But what I started noticing is that with 1.5 years, I was always coming back to watching porn and masturbating, and I couldn't really break this cycle. It just felt so absolutely terrible not being able to do anything, and that just the fact that I was helpless from that perspective made me go into the depression even more. Then I think it was around 2014 2015 I came across this TED talk. It's called Your Brain on Porn. Firstly, there are quite a lot of things that might be a negative side of porn.
Hard to believe that sexual activity can cause addiction because sex is healthy. But internet porn is not sex. Internet porn is as different from real sex as today's video games are from checkers. In this Dutch study, here's the title, they found that in fact, of all activities on the internet, porn has the most potential to become addictive.
Basically, after watching Your Brain on Porn video on TED Talks, I started thinking maybe this is something that is happening to me. Maybe porn is the thing to blame. I'm not trying to say that the porn is bad, and if you watch porn there is absolutely nothing wrong with it, but what I am trying to say is that lots of consequences of watching porn, especially amongst teenagers, especially given that this is the way they're introduced into this sexual world. In the TED Talks, in their study they did, they claim that porn can cause anxiety and depression. Now this "can" word is very important, because although for the most part many men and women enjoy watching porn and they have absolutely no problem with that, there is still a big chunk of people who have problems with that. They start having depression and anxiety, and very often they might not realize that this is the case and what is happening to them. This is especially common among teenagers, so there are many adults who deal with the same problem. In TED Talks, in that video, people talked about positive correlation between maybe feeling anxious and depressed and between how much porn or how much you masturbate, but nobody can really say whether it's a cause or consequence. Are you masturbating too much because you're having depression, or are you having depression because you masturbate too much? And you can watch lots of videos on YouTube with the NoFap challenge with people saying that they get anxiety, that they get depression from masturbating. Now, for me personally, masturbation is not a problem. For me, it is quite a natural thing, and that's absolutely okay, and my body is absolutely perfectly fine with it. Now, what I decided to do is, unfortunately, it took me very long, but I've seen different rumors. I don't know the actual studies that point it out, except for the one on TED Talks, which again I will put the link in the description down below. But I haven't really seen any studies that say that porn causes depression or causes anxiety, because there are so many other factors in life which are very difficult to measure. And when a person gives up porn, and the anxiety and depression kind of not disappears, but it becomes much easier to live with, is it a placebo effect, or is it the actual thing that people get depression from pornography?
70% of people report an increased energy level if they abstain from masturbation, and they perform better at work. They're able to exercise more often. I don't know, maybe it's a placebo effect, but I'm not going to knock it because it's helping people.
Now, for me personally, I decided to give up porn in any of its ways. If I masturbate, I just turned off completely all the technology, my laptop. I will put my phone on silent, put it away from my bed, or I don't know where you like to do it. I've realized that when you focus not on the visual part, which porn obviously provides you, focus on those, smells and touch, or even if it's the touch by yourself, for the most part, many guys have got used to jerk in 2-3 minutes, and that's it, just bye. Before, I could actually finish 3 or 4 times a day, which is it's ridiculous. Hardly any guys, percentage wise, would be able to do it 3 to 4 times a day. That's just ridiculous, and no woman would want to do that. Fucking 4 times a day for half an hour each time, that's crazy. But what I've noticed when I gave up porn is that actually there isn't really a thing that now turns me on as much. So what ended up happening is I just didn't want to jerk as often. I would come back from school, back home, and I would think, okay, I want to jerk. But then, I remember that I can't use any computer, I can't use anything to, watch porn or anything like that, or anything erotic at all. So I would think to myself, wow, I don't want it. I genuinely don't, want to, think about, sex, or, do anything, or, start touching myself without actually watching porn before that. So what ended up happening is that I actually started finding that balance of how much sex I actually want, or how much masturbation I actually want. And I think it's a huge difference between 3 to 4 times a day. There is also this thing called post-orgasmic illness syndrome, which is some people report some unwellness after orgasming, and the symptoms could range literally everything from general small tiredness, which is quite normal after sex, I would say, for some people, to something more extreme like depression or anxiety. Unfortunately, not much research has been done on this topic, so I can't really talk about anything like that. But I think having too much orgasms to porn can be linked to the actual depression and anxiety. I'm not particularly sure what has caused it, but that's just the way I was feeling, and it was getting worse and worse and worse, to the point where I would have to do something about it. So obviously, instead of going to a psychologist or sex therapist, as a teenager at the age of 14 or 15, in quite a conservative country like Ukraine, you don't really tend to do that. You don't really tend to go to sex therapy, which I think many teenagers should do. If you have questions like that, sex therapists, they deal with all sorts of things, honestly. So I think consulting with a sex therapist will really help you personally, because obviously, although I'm making this video, I'm talking about my own experience, I'm not talking about everyone's. So I think it would be really good if you could, consult with someone, talk to someone, and figure out what's the problem. Now, frankly saying, if you're a teenager or even if you're an adult, I just want to say that it is absolutely normal for you to struggle with your sexuality, whatever that can be, you know, whether it's being gay or straight, whether it's how much you have sex or how much you masturbate. You know, especially we as teenagers, we need to find the balance in everything. And that is why some people say that teenage years are one of the most difficult years in your life, because you just have to figure everything out and you have to find some balance, you know, some healthy choices for yourself. Because the truth is that the same amount for different people can cause different things. And that's why you have to listen to yourself and you have to figure things out yourself. Now that's where the sex therapist would help, but if you are too shy to talk to anyone about it, or to go to the sex therapist, even though again, you know, sex therapists are absolutely confidential and you could definitely go and share information. Again, you have nothing to be ashamed of because they deal with stuff much worse than yours. So even if you are a bit embarrassed about the situation, that's absolutely fine to try and figure it out yourself. You know, for some people it helps giving up masturbation and porn at the same time for some time and then start masturbating again. But without porn. Maybe at first, you know, when you masturbate, you would feel like something is lacking. You wouldn't get as much pleasure, or you wouldn't feel that great of an orgasm, or you would feel weird afterwards or before that. And that is absolutely fine. You know, you're getting used to a new thing, and it's natural, you know, for those people who are getting used to something new to, you know, at first feel confused. Now, you might ask, Alex, okay, well, what if I'm watching like real romantic porn, no violence, no that? You can watch whatever you want. But if you feel that this is making you anxious, and if you feel that this is making you depressed, then you should stop. It's very individual, you know, and again, most people can watch porn perfectly fine, get off of it, forget, and move on, you know, to the rest of the day. For others, and probably it is for you if you're watching this video, it's a bit more than that. You know, you're experiencing more struggles, you're experiencing more problems. To this, I would say, just try to quit it. You know, try to quit porn. You don't have to quit masturbation at all. You know, just make this as a rule. When you're jerking, just turn off every device, you know, or put your phone on silent. Have the private time to yourself. Take it slow, enjoy it. Try to figure out what you like and what you don't like. Try to imitate the actual sex. You can use flashlights, you can use toys of different kinds. Just don't watch porn. That's it. So many guys give up on their fantasies and on their dreams and on what they would actually do instead, to just, you know, being as simple as sitting in front of their desk, having their computer in front of them, and just jerking. That isn't fun. That isn't exciting. That isn't what would happen, you know, if you were to have sex with someone else. You wouldn't just sit in one position on the chair with your hand moving around your penis without your body moving at all in most cases. Just have some fun. Just be creative. Yes, you might not do it as often. Yes, at first you might feel that that's not for you, but try it out. You could always come back to porn if you would want to, or if you would feel like this thing is not for you. But my advice is, if you're having struggles when you masturbate, try to do it without porn. Also, you know, if you stop masturbating, you won't just explode or anything. There is this thing called wet dreams. Basically, while you're sleeping, most of the time, you would get an erection, you would get a sex dream, and you would ejaculate by yourself. So it is possible. You know, it might be very challenging in the first couple of weeks, normally, but just try it out. I don't remember myself being without masturbation for more than 2 weeks. Like, it just didn't happen. That's the kind of person I am. Some people might not do it at all. Some people might do it 3 to 4 times a day. But just try not to watch porn. Try not to masturbate. Try things out and see how you feel it by yourself. Okay guys, I think that will do it. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. I hope it helps. If you're having any struggles, put them in the comments. Maybe you would find people who think exactly like you or who are feeling exactly the same way. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.